Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Tourism and Hospitality Service Management, SOTHSM, Bachelor's Degree. BA. Vocational Studies Tourism Management, BAVTM CBCS. BTMC-132 Fundamentals of Management. Block-1 Basic Concepts, Forms and Financing of Business. Unit-1 Nature and Scope of Business. 1.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to identify broad categories of human activities, describe what is business, list the features and objectives of business, classify business activities and their interrelationship, explain the nature of business organization, explain who is an entrepreneur. 1.1 Introduction. In our day-to-day life, we use words like business, commerce, trade, industry, etc. quite often. These words have a definite meaning in business organization. In this introductory unit, you will learn the exact connotation of such terms. You will also learn the distinction between economic and non-economic activities, objectives of business, the classification of business activities, importance of organization and the role of entrepreneur in business. 1.2 Human activities. All of us participate in various kinds of works from the time we get up from bed in the morning till the time we go to sleep at night. We get up from bed in the morning, brush our teeth, take bath and get breakfast. Then children go to school or college to study, elders go to office or factory or shop or field to work, and housewives work at home. In the evening all of us come back home, take food, and sleep. All the activities in which we, thus, participate from morning till night are called human activities. If you closely examine the human activities, you will find that some of these produce economic benefits, e.g., working in a factory or in an office or at the farm. Some other activities like brushing teeth, taking breakfast, going to school, playing, cooking food for the family, etc., do not produce any direct economic benefits. Thus, we can classify the human activities into two groups: 1. Non-economic activities, and 2. Economic activities. 1. Non-economic activities. These are the activities which are conducted by the human beings due to love and affection, social obligation, religious obligation, physical requirement, patriotism, etc., but not for earning money. The housewife cooking for the family, children going to school and playing games, people going to a temple or a mosque for prayer, a social worker working for the uplift of the poor, etc., are some such examples. Persons who participate in such activities do not get any direct economic benefit. 2. Economic activities. These are activities which are undertaken by human beings for earning money or livelihood. These economic activities are concerned with production, exchange, and distribution of goods and services. For example, a doctor working in the hospital, a teacher working in a school, an employee going to his office, a farmer working in the field, etc. They are all doing this to earn his or her livelihood or to acquire wealth. We can further classify these economic activities into three groups: A. Business, B. Profession, and C. Employment. Look at Figure 1.1 for classification of human activities. A. Business. Any activity carried primarily with the object of earning profit can be called a business activity. This objective of earning profit is achieved by production and/or exchange of want-satisfying goods and services. Therefore, we can define business as any activity concerned with the production and/or exchange of want-satisfying goods and services carried with a view of earning profit. Production of soaps, sale of eggs, production of TV sets, transport, etc. are some examples of business. A person who is engaged in business is called a businessman or entrepreneur. Similarly, a firm formed for the purpose of carrying a business activity is called a business enterprise or a business firm. You will learn in detail about business later in this unit. B. Profession, an activity which involves the rendering of personalized services of a specialized nature, based on professional knowledge, education, and training is called a profession. Services rendered by doctors, lawyers, chartered accountants, etc. come under this category. Generally, for each category of profession, there would be a professional body. For example, Bar Council of India is the professional body of lawyers which guides and regulates the law profession in India. The professional body prescribes the nature and type of educational qualifications and training required to practice the concerned profession. A professional should become the member of concerned professional body and follow the code of conduct prescribed by such body. Professionals charge some fee for the professional service they render. C. Employment, any activity assigned to a person by the employer under an agreement or rules of service comes under the category of employment. A person who undertakes such activity is called employee. For performing such activity, the employee receives remuneration from the employer in the form of wage or salary, allowance, bonus, etc. The employment is also called service. Working in a factory, office, hotel, college, etc. are a few examples of employment. Even professionally qualified persons also work as employees in various organizations. For example, doctors employed in government private hospitals, engineers employed in a factory, etc. Although business, profession, and employment are distinguished from each other, they're also interdependent. Business enterprises provide employment to a large number of people in the country. Similarly, professionals like engineers, chartered accountants, cost accountants, management consultants, legal experts, doctors, etc., work with the business firms for tackling complicated technical problems. Thus, business enterprises provide employment opportunities to professionals and general public. At the same time, the success of the business is dependent on its employees and professionals working with it. 1.3 Business. You have learnt that the entire range of economic activities of the human beings could be classified into business, profession, and employment. Among these three categories, profession and employment, though important, are outside the scope of this course. We are primarily concerned with business. So, let us discuss about business in more detail. 1.3.1 Essential features of business. You have learnt that business refers to the human activities engaged in production and/or exchange of want-satisfying goods and services carried with the intention of earning profits. Now let us study the important characteristics of business. We can list the following 5 broad features of business. 1. Dealings in goods and services. Business deals with goods and services. The goods may be consumer goods such as sweets, bread, cloth, shoes, etc. They may be producers' goods such as machinery, equipment, etc., which are used to produce further goods for consumption. Business also deals with services such as transport, warehousing, banking, insurance, etc., which are intangible and invisible goods. 2. Production and/or exchange. You can call an economic activity a business only when there is production or transfer or exchange or sale of goods or services for value. If goods are produced for self-consumption or presentation as gift, such activities shall not be treated as business. In a business activity, there must be two parties, i.e., a buyer and a seller. Such activity should concern with the transfer of goods or exchange of goods between a buyer and a seller. The goods may be bartered or exchanged for money. 3. Continuity and regularity in dealings. A single transaction shall not be treated as business. An activity is treated as business only when it is undertaken continually or at least recurrently. For example, if a person sells his residential house, it is not considered as business. If he repeatedly buys houses and sells to others, such activity comes under business. But how frequently the transaction should occur depends on the nature of the activity. For example, a shipbuilding company takes a long time to manufacture and sell a ship. At the same time, a vegetable vendor purchases vegetables from the market in the morning and sells out to his customers by evening. But both these activities are treated as business. 4. Profit motive. Earning profit is the primary motive of business. This is not to undermine the importance of the element of service in business activity. In fact, a business will flourish only when it is able to serve its customers to their satisfaction. Profits are essential to enable the business to survive, to grow, expand, and to get recognition. 5. Element of risk. In every business, there is a possibility of incurring loss. This possibility of incurring loss is termed as risk. The element of risk exists due to a variety of factors which are outside the control of the business enterprise. There are two kinds of risks. 1. Risks whose probability can be calculated and can be insured. Losses due to fire, floods, theft, etc. are some examples. 2. Risks whose probability cannot be calculated and which cannot be insured against, e.g., changing technology, fall in demand, changing fashions, short supply of raw materials, etc. These risks are to be completely borne by the enterprise. 1.3.2 Objectives of business. You have learnt that the primary objective of business is to earn profit. Although profit plays an important role as a criterion of success, business may not exist for long with the sole objective of earning profit. As stated by Henry Ford, business is not mere money chasing, but it also should aim at serving the community. According to Ervik, profit can no more be the objective of a business than eating is the objective of living. Thus, serving the community is regarded as another important objective of business. In fact, some authors regard service to community as the major objective of business and state that this provides the main justification for the existence of business as an important human activity. Therefore, while profit is necessary for the businessman to stay in business, he ought to aim at something more for its survival and growth. The objectives of business could be listed under three broad headings. 1. Economic objectives, 2. Social objectives, and 3. Human objectives. Economic objectives, basically being an economic activity, primary objectives of business are economic. Some of the main economic objectives are 1. Earning of satisfactory profits. 2. Exploring new markets and creation of more customers. 3. Growth and expansion of business operations of the firm. 4. Making innovations and improvements in goods and services so that customers get improved and more economic goods and services. Social objectives. Business, being a part of the society, has obligations towards the society also. Some major social objectives are: 1. Providing more and more employment opportunities to the people in the country. 2. Supply of quality goods to the community. 3. Providing goods at reasonable price. 4. Ensure fair returns to investors. 5. Avoidance of profiteering and unfair practices. 6. Production of goods in accordance with national interests and priorities. Human objectives. Business activity is, generally, carried out through employees who are human beings. In fact, the efficiency and the success of the business enterprise depends on the motivation and ability of its employees. Therefore, business must also have some human objectives to safeguard the interests of its employees. Some of the major human objectives are: 1. Fair deal to employees in terms of wages and incentives. 2. Providing better working conditions and environment to the employees. 3. Provide job satisfaction. 4. Provide the employees more and more promotional growth opportunities. 1.3.3 Classification of business. You just recollect what we have stated about business. We stated that business is concerned with production and/or exchange of goods and services with the intention of earning profit. It states that business is concerned with two aspects, i.e., production and exchange. Based on this, we may classify business activities into two categories. In the first category, we can group all the business activities relating to production. Similarly, all the activities relating to exchange may be grouped under the second category. The first category is known as industry, while the second category is called commerce. 1. For industry. As you have learnt, industry refers to that part of business activities which is concerned with the production of want-satisfying goods services through utilization of available material resources. Industry utilizes the natural resources and brings them into the form useful for final consumption or further use. It means that the industrial activity aims at ensuring the supply of goods in that form which suits the objects, needs and convenience of the persons expected to use them. Thus, industry creates form utility to goods. For example, farms, factories, mines, etc. make available a wide range of goods. These goods cater to the needs and convenience of the people. In a nutshell, the activities of human beings engaged in extraction, production, processing, construction, and fabrication of products come under industry. There is another explanation for industry. Under this second explanation, industry means a group of factories usually specializing in a particular product line. For example, all the factories which produce fertilizer are collectively called fertilizer industry. Similarly, all automobile factories together constitute automobile industry. But, in the present context, this approach is not relevant. We adopt the first approach. 1.4.1 Classification of industry. There are various approaches of classifying industries. All these approaches are listed below. 1. On the basis of the nature of activity. A. Extractive industries. B. Genetic industries. C. Manufacturing industries. D. Construction industries. 2. On the basis of the nature of goods produced. A. Consumer goods industries. B. Producer goods industries. 3. On the basis of the level of investment. A. Heavy industries. B. Light industries. 4. On the basis of size of the activity. A. Small-scale industries. B. Large-scale industries. 5. On the basis of area of operations. A. Regional industries. B. National industries. C. Multinational industries. Since the theme of the discussion in this unit is centered around human activity, the classification based on the nature of activity is more appropriate for us. So, let us discuss about the first classification in detail. A. Extractive industries, activities engaged in the discovery and extraction of natural resources like minerals, animals, plants, trees, etc., from the surface or beneath the surface of the earth or air or water come under this category. Extractive industries are also called exhaustive industries because with every attempt there is a depletion of resources and this wealth exhausts. Mining, farming, quarrying, hunting, fishing, etc. come under this category. B. Genetic industries, activities which are concerned with reproducing and multiplying plants and animals with the objective of earning profit from their sale come under this category. Examples are nurseries which multiply and sell plants, poultry farms, cattle breeding farms, fish culture, etc. There is one important difference between an extractive industry and a genetic industry. In the case of extractive industry, man cannot add to the wealth which he withdraws from the earth, sea, and air. However, in the case of genetic industry, man not only adds to the growth but also reproduces the nature-made goods. C. Manufacturing industries. These types of industries are engaged in the conversion or transformation of raw materials and semi-finished materials into finished products. Generally, the products of extractive industries become raw materials for manufacturing industries. In other words, manufacturing industries create form utility to the products of extractive industries. Cement industry, sugar industry, cotton textile industry, iron and steel industry, fertilizer industry, etc. are some examples for manufacturing industries. D. Construction industries. These industries are engaged in the construction activities like the construction of buildings, bridges, dams, roads, canals, railway lines, etc. These industries consume the products of manufacturing industries, e.g., bricks, cement, iron and steel, and extractive industries, e.g., quarries, wood. The products of construction industries are immovable. They are erected, built or fabricated at a fixed site. Look at the screen figure 1.2 for classification of industries with some examples. When we talk of the nature of activity, we can also include the service industry. These are the industries which do not produce any tangible products but provides a service like tourism industry, entertainment industry, etc. 1.5 Commerce. You have learnt that the business activities are classified into 1. Industry and 2. Commerce. You also learnt that the industrial activities are concerned with the production of want-satisfying goods and services. Unless these goods and services are made available to those who need them, they may not fulfill their objectives, i.e., satisfying human wants. Therefore, the goods produced by the industries should be made available to the consumers at right place, right time, right quantity, right price, and in right manner. Here comes the activity of commerce to fulfill all these requirements. All the activities which establish link between the producers of goods and consumers of these goods and maintain a smooth and uninterrupted flow of goods between them come under commerce. A smooth and uninterrupted flow of goods and services from producer to consumer is beset with many barriers and hindrances. For instance, goods produced by one may be consumed by another. In such a case, unless the producer and consumer identify each other, there is no scope for exchange of goods between them. This is the hindrance of person. Similarly, for buying a product, consumers should have the knowledge about the existence of that product, its features, etc. Therefore, there is a need to provide such information to the consumers. This is the hindrance of knowledge. The hindrance of time arises out of the time gap between the time of production and the time of consumption. In many cases, goods are produced at one place while they are consumed at another place. So, the goods should be carried from the place of production to the place of consumption. This gives rise for the hindrance of place. Commerce eliminates all these hindrances and facilitates the exchange of goods between producers and consumers. Later, in this section, you will learn in detail how these hindrances are eliminated through various business activities which form part of commerce. In a nutshell, commerce is mainly concerned with the purchase and sale of goods, and also embraces all those functions which are essential for maintaining smooth and uninterrupted flow of goods and services between the buyers and sellers. Thus, there are two main aspects in commerce: I. Purchase and sale of goods, and 2. Activities essential for the smooth and uninterrupted flow of goods. Therefore, we can classify the whole range of commerce activities into two categories. 1. Trade, activities of purchase and sale. 2. Aids to trade, activities which facilitate the smooth and uninterrupted flow of goods. 1.5.1 Trade. You have already learnt that the human activities engaged in buying and selling of goods and services come under trade. Therefore, trade includes sale, transfer, or exchange of goods and services with the intention of earning profit. The objective of trade is to make goods available to those persons who need them and are willing to pay for them. Thus, trade plays a major role in establishing contact between the producers and the consumers and eliminates the hindrance of person. A person who is engaged in trade is called trader or middleman. Various traders operate in between producers and consumers and remove the hindrance of person. We can classify trade into two broad categories: 1. Internal trade and 2. External trade. 1. Internal trade. When the trade takes place within the boundaries of the country, you can call it internal trade. It means that both buying and selling should take place within the county. Payment for the same is generally made in national currency. This internal trade is also termed as inland trade, or national trade, or home trade, or domestic trade. On the basis of the scale of operations, we can classify internal trade into A. Wholesale trade and B. Retail trade. A. Wholesale trade, buying and selling in relatively larger quantities, is called wholesale trade. A person who is involved in wholesale trade is called wholesaler. B. Retail trade. This refers to buying and selling in relatively smaller quantities. A person engaged in retail trade is called a retailer. Let us now discuss in some detail how these wholesalers and retailers operate and eliminate the hindrance of person. A wholesale trader buys goods in large quantities from the manufacturers and sells in relatively smaller quantities to the retailers. Thus, the wholesale traders constitute a link between the producers on the one hand and the retailers on the other hand. Retailers who buy goods from the wholesalers sell them in smaller quantities to the consumers. Thus, retail traders establish link between wholesale traders on the one hand and consumers on the other. Thus, the wholesalers and retailers establish a link between the producers and consumers and eliminate the hindrance of person. However, sometimes producers may take the services of only either wholesalers or retailers or may establish a direct link with the consumers. The whole chain of traders middlemen operating in between producer and consumer is referred to as channel of distribution. 2. External trade. This is also called foreign trade or international trade. When the trade takes place across the boundaries of a country, you can call such trade as external trade. In other words, external trade refers to the trade between nations. This trade could be in the form of exchange of one commodity for another or for money. We can classify foreign trade into three categories: A. Import trade, B. Export trade, and C. Re-export trade. A. Import trade. When a country buys goods from another country, it is called import trade. For example, India bought machinery from the USA. This is an import trade for India. B. Export trade. When a country sells goods to another country, it is called export trade. For example, India sells leather goods to Russia and tea to USA. For India, such selling of goods shall be termed as export trade. C. Re-export trade. This is also called intra-import trade. When the goods are imported from one country and the same are exported to another country, such trade is called re-export trade. Re-export is done by those countries which have ports that are conveniently situated to serve as distributing points for neighboring countries. Such countries import large quantities of goods and re-export the same to the neighboring countries. 1.5.2 Aids to trade. Activities which facilitate the trade are called aids to trade. Thus, all human activities which eliminate the hindrances and facilitate the flow of goods from producers to consumers come under aids to trade. They are also called auxiliaries to trade. The whole range of activities coming under aids to trade may be classified into 5 categories: 1. Transportation, 2. Warehousing, 3. Insurance, 4. Advertising, and 5. Banking. 1. Transportation. Generally, all the goods are not consumed at the same place where they are produced. Therefore, goods are to be moved from the place of production to the place where they are demanded. The activity which is concerned with such movement of goods is called transportation. Thus, transportation eliminates the hindrance of place and creates place utility to goods. Transportation can be of 3 types. A. Land transportation, road, rail. B. Air transportation, aeroplane. C. Water transportation, boat, ship. 2. Warehousing. Goods may not be consumed immediately after production. Normally there will be time gap between production and consumption. This is the hindrance of time. Therefore, goods once produced should be preserved properly till they are consumed. Particularly, perishable goods like milk, meat, vegetables, flowers, etc. should be preserved very carefully. Otherwise, they get spoiled and become useless. For this reason, warehousing is recognized as yet another aid to trade. Warehousing refers to preservation of goods to make them available as and when needed by consumers. Thus, warehousing eliminates the hindrance of time and provides time utility to goods. 3. Insurance. The goods may be destroyed while in production process, or in transit due to accidents, or in storage due to fire or theft, etc. The businessman would like to cover these risks. Insurance companies come to their rescue. In this regard, they undertake to compensate the loss suffered due to such risks. For this purpose, the business has to take an insurance policy and pay a certain amount regularly, called premium. Thus, insurance eliminates the hindrance of risk. 4. Advertising. Exchange of goods is possible only when the consumers have the knowledge about the existence of a product. This is the hindrance of knowledge. This hindrance is eliminated through advertising. Through advertisement, producers communicate all information about their goods to the prospective consumers and create in them a strong desire to buy the product. Thus, advertising facilitates the flow of goods between producers and consumers by bringing the knowledge about the products to the consumers. Advertising is done through TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, hoardings, wall posters, etc. 5. Banking. Banking facilitates the flow of goods by removing the hindrance of finance and credit. Nowadays, we cannot think of business without banks. To start the business or to run it smoothly, we require money. Banks supply money. A bank is an organization which accepts deposits of money from the public, withdrawal on demand or otherwise, and lends the same to those who need it. Banks also provide many services required for the business activity. Look at Figure 1.3 for classification and subclassification of commerce. 1.6 Relationship between trade, industry and commerce. You have learnt that business is concerned with production and/or exchange of one satisfying goods and services with the intention of earning profit. Further, you have also learnt that the production aspect of business activities comes under industry while the exchange aspect comes under commerce. Commerce again has two main aspects: trade, activities of purchase and sale, and aids to trade, activities which facilitate the smooth flow of goods. All these branches and sub-branches of business activity are closely related to one another, and any one of them cannot function in isolation. Industry makes available the goods and services ready for selling and distribution. But commerce, more particularly trade, enables industry to function through purchase of material required for production. This supporting role of commerce continues in the after-production stage also through sale of the finished products. Commerce is the link between the producer of goods and services and the consumers of these goods and services. Commerce thus serves as the backbone of industry, while industry provides the base for commerce to operate. If you recollect, we have also mentioned that a smooth and uninterrupted flow of goods and services from producer to consumer is beset with many barriers and hindrances, and that a major aspect of commerce is the elimination of these barriers and hindrances through various activities called aids to trade, which include transportation, warehousing, insurance, advertising, etc. Thus all of them, industry, commerce, trade and aid to trade, are part of the whole business system, supplementing and supporting each other for seamless production and delivery of goods and services. 1.7 Organization. You have learnt what is a business activity and various types of business activities, like industry, trade, transportation, banking, etc., and their relationship. Whatever business activity you may take up, you have to bring together various resources like capital, machinery, raw materials, labor, technicians, etc. Mere presence or availability of these resources is not enough. Such resources are to be put in action in a systematic way to achieve its objective. For example, take the case of textile production. First, you get some land and construct buildings by machinery and install them in the buildings, employ labor and technicians to work on the machinery, buy raw materials, cotton, dyes, etc., process the raw materials in the factory and produce the cloth. Once cloth is produced, it is to be sold to consumers through wholesale and retail dealers. Thus, to produce cloth you have to assemble resources such as factory, cotton, dyes, labor, wholesalers, retailers, etc. But simple presence of these resources may not achieve the purpose. We have to put these resources together in action very systematically and coordinate their activities. Then only it is possible to produce the cloth, distribute it to consumers, and get profits. This is true with any business activity. A business activity becomes a reality only when efforts are made to bring the required resources together, put them at work systematically, and coordinate their activities properly. This is referred to as business organization. In the opinion of J. W. Schulze, organization is a combination of necessary beings, materials, tools, equipment, working space, apparatus, and finance brought together in a systematic and effective correlation to accomplish some desired objective. Oliver Sheldon defined it as the process of combining the work which individuals and groups have to perform with the facilities necessary for its execution so that they provide the best channels for efficient, systematic, positive, and coordinated application of the available effort. As viewed by F. J. Wright, organization is the arranging or combining of resources to achieve an economic aim either with the resources available to achieve the maximum result or profit, or to achieve a given aim with the least possible expenditure of resources. Thus, business organization means bringing together various components of business such as workforce, raw materials, machines, capital, energy, etc. Putting them on work systematically and coordinating and controlling their activities effectively to achieve the objective of earning profit. Forms of business organization. Business may be owned and managed by a single man or a group of persons forming a partnership firm or as a joint stock company or even as a cooperative society. Thus, on the basis of ownership and management, we can classify business organization into four groups. 1. Sole proprietorship. 2. Partnership firm. 3. Company. 4. Cooperative society. The first two categories, sole proprietorship and partnership form, may be called non-corporate forms of organizations. The remaining two categories, company form and cooperative society, may be called as corporate forms of organization. About these forms of organization, you will study in details in Unit 2 and 3. 1.8 Entrepreneur. You know that the business is carried with the primary objective of earning profits. You also know that setting up of the business to achieve this objective requires bringing together various resources, coordinating them, and controlling all activities. This has to be done by somebody who may conceive the idea of doing a particular type of business, mobilize the resources, and bring the organization into existence. Such person who does all this is called an entrepreneur. He is the one who also bears the risk of the business. You know that although each enterprise is started with the objective of earning profit, but the possibility of loss cannot be ruled out. Thus, The entrepreneur is the person who conceives the business idea, brings the organization into existence, carries on the business activity, and is prepared to bear the risk of loss. 1.8.1 Characteristics of an entrepreneur. If you read business history, you will come across the names of many persons who may be called entrepreneurs. Rockefeller and Henry Ford of the United States, Carl Benz and Gottfried Daimler of Germany, Soichiro Honda of Japan are well-known names of entrepreneurs who started industrial organizations and made fortunes. In our country, J. N. Tata, G. D. Birla, Kirloskar and others have set up successful manufacturing industries. Small business firms have often succeeded because of the part played by entrepreneurs. It may be useful to know whether they had anything common as regards their personal characteristics. It has been found that there are certain elements in the character of entrepreneurs which are usually prominent in them. 1. Independence. Many entrepreneurs who started their businesses resisted being pigeonholed or following routine habits. In fact, entrepreneurs become frustrated when they have to follow someone else's directions. They have to be the boss. They like to be in control. They find it difficult to work under the direction of others. 2. Hard work. Willingness to work and work hard is an outstanding trait of entrepreneurs. You can bet that the successful business owner has paid with tedious, sweat-filled hours, emotional stress, and perseverance. Most likely the business verged on failure many times in the beginning, but the owner simply would not let it die. A successful entrepreneur described his early experiences that they worked endless, 12-hour days and sometimes 7 days a week. You might say it was his whole life. 3. Desire to achieve goals. They have a strong desire to overcome problems and setting up successful business ventures which eventually give adequate profits. They considered profit as a measure of their achievement and performance rather than making money alone. 4. Foresight and dynamic outlook. Basically, these people have wide knowledge about business environment, i.e., market, consumer attitude, technological development, etc. Further, they are dynamic in forecasting business uncertainties and risks. Accordingly, they take quick and sound decisions. 5. Open-mindedness. They are intelligent in predicting changes in business environment. However, they never resist changes because they know that they cannot stop it. Therefore, they are habituated to open-mindedness. Even though sometimes they lose crores of rupees due to changes in consumer tastes which ultimately forced them to change their technology, etc. 6. Optimistic outlook. They are generally inclined to believe that present problems are of a temporary nature and conditions will be more favorable in due course. Entrepreneurs are always eager to achieve their goals in the best possible manner to get outstanding results which they can be proud of. 7. Working relationship. The success of a business mostly depends upon its workers first and then their links with other business undertakings. Most of the successful business entrepreneurs have had harmonious relationships with others. This builds up their reputation in the market. 8. Good organizers. They are good at bringing together different types of resources needed for starting a business and making it operationally efficient. They can convince people about the prospects of business, get their cooperation, raise funds, procure machinery, arrange supply of materials, select right type of employees, and coordinate various activities relating to the business. 9. Innovative aptitude. Most of the successful entrepreneurs have innovative aptitude. They spend part of their income on research and innovative activities so that they offer suitable product to meet the demands of consumers. Some of our industrialists like Tata, Birla, Kirloskar, etc. have established their own research centers. 1.9 Summary. The whole range of human activities can be classified into 1. Economic activities and 2. Non-economic activities. Economic activities are further divided into 1. Business, 2. Profession, and 3. Employment. Business is concerned with production and/or exchange of goods and services carried with the primary objective of earning profits. Activities concerned with the rendering of personalized services of a specialized nature come under profession. Employment refers to the activity assigned to a person by the employer under an agreement or rules of service. The main features of business activity are 1. Dealings in goods and services, 2. Production and/or exchange, 3. Regularity in dealings, 4. Profit motive, 5. Element of risk, and 6. Enterprise. Besides earning profit, the business also serves certain economic, social, and human objectives. Business activities are classified into 1. Industry and 2. Commerce. Industrial activities are classified into 4 categories: 1. Extractive industries, 2. Genetic industries, 3. Manufacturing industries, and 4. Construction industries. Commerce is classified into 1. Trade and 2. Aids to trade. Activities concerned with buying and selling come under trade. Activities which facilitate buying and selling and maintain smooth flow of goods and services come under aids to trade. These are 1. Transportation, 2. Warehousing, 3. Banking, 4. Insurance, and 5. Advertising. Figure 1.4 gives complete classification of human activities. Organization makes the business proposition into a reality. It brings together required components, puts them on work systematically, and coordinates and controls their activities effectively to achieve the objective of earning profit. There are 4 basic forms of business organization: 1. Sole proprietorship, 2. Partnership, 3. Company, and 4. Cooperative society. All business starts with an idea. A person who conceives the idea of doing a particular type of business, mobilize the resources, and bring the organization into existence is called an entrepreneur. Certain common elements in the character of entrepreneurs include independence, hard work, desire to achieve goals, open-mindedness, optimistic outlook, etc. Look at the screen. Figure 1.4. Classification of human activities. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.